start on the bottom first, if you can, if you have room. I started on the bottom, so when you hit in, you try to want to break in at least halfway, so when you go around this other side, you don't have to worry about it breaking outward. You can just start here and chip off, and it'll stop right here. Instead of going straight into it here, you want to turn it at an angle, just slightly, because that way it's going to break up and outward. It's not going to break into the stone. It's going to go out. If you have a ½ inch to take off the face on it, you're going to have a ½ inch to take off the bottom of it. Or you could use that ½ inch to your advantage by hitting on the bottom first and giving it somewhere to break to when you hit it from the opposite side. It gives it somewhere to relieve itself to. Okay, I'm changing the face size ½ inch. And you go back with a chipper now and just put a fine edge on it.
Reggie, the question I often get from members, and the question that we had at the Next Step seminar is, how do I fix a chip?
Well, you first want to figure out which way would be the easiest way to fix it without being too noticeable, and which would be the least amount of work. There you go, and you'll put your straight edge on. And try to take off the least amount that you have to fix the chip.
Right.
And then you want to start out with your handset again, because there's too much bulk here to go with the chipper.
Okay.
If you got more than ½ inch, you don't want to break it off with a chipper. You want to use your handset. If you had a chip in the middle of it right here, you would still have to take off the whole side and still put corner lines on front and the back, using the same process as a corner. You go back with your chipper and put your fine edge down. Once I get the top, where you got a finished edge on the top, where you got your chips out, you want to find out where your bottom is, where you have to end up. It's easier to draw lines on here to find out where your bottom is going to be. And once you get your bottom, you want to start on the bottom first. Once you get the bottom, find out where your bottom's going to be. It's easier to connect the two bottom and the top together than it is to start at the top and try to get square and end up at the bottom. It's easier just to connect the two corners. Once you get your bottom done, go back on the top and get your top corner done. It's easy just to make them connect. You don't want to go straight into that corner. You want to go at about a 30-degree angle where you're chipping off each side. You don't want to try to go straight into the stone. You want to try to chip away each way as you're going down.
Reggie, the type of monument you're most often asked to produce is a SERP top slant. Here we have a SERP top slant in American black. I'd like you to tell us the technique you will use to produce it.
Usually when you're doing a SERP top on a slant, you have to start on the end to go inward first so you don't break the corner off. You want to go from the end inward, hitting it lightly until it's flat on the surface, until you get a line across. Once you get that line, then you can hit it and get the penetration of going inward. Once you got the end cut, get the bulk off of there, you can go around the back side and start from the back going forward, remembering the angle of your handset. You want to use a 2-inch handset instead of a 3-inch handset because you have more control using a 2-inch.
Reggie, I noticed when you were going across the top of this serpentine top, across the edge, you moved at right angles to the front of the stone. Why did you do that?
But you don't want to get too much of a bite with the handset. You want to just get a little bit at a time. You don't want to get too much at a time.
Does that keep you from making mistakes?
It keeps you from undercutting. See, I usually hit it so once I hit it, if this doesn't come off, the next time I move over, when I hit it here, it'll pull that one off.
Why did you use a handset on here? Would somebody rather use another tool?
That's a mistake people make, though. You want to use a handset to break off the bulk instead of using a chipper. You don't want to use a chipper to break any bulk off. You'll probably break the chipper or you'll undercut the stone.
Okay, and then I'd have a ruined stone. Have to start over.
I'm going to go from the end again going in.
Okay.
Now we go around the back. Okay, now that I got it done with a handset, I'm going to go ahead and put a template on here and go back with a chipper and put a fine edge on it. You want to mark your ends first.
As you're watching Reggie do this work, remember, practice makes perfect. You've got to practice these techniques yourself to acquire the skills that he's showing you here. Reggie, point marks are always a problem for dealers when they get a stone and don't like point marks on there because it's a sign of bad craftsmanship somewhere along the line. Tell us how you remove point marks.
First of all, you want to use a propane torch, or a acetylene torch is fine too, and you burn continually around the point mark in a circle until that point mark will pop off.
And it just pops off by itself after you're burned around it.
Just keep going around in a circle around the point mark until it pops off.
How do you know when that point mark is ready to come off? Is there any hint, any guide?
When you're burning a point mark, going around in a circle, you'll see the stone expand, and then you just tap it with a hammer or a chisel, and it'll just fall right off.
So when you heat the granite, you're expanding the granite, and that's what causes it to break away from the stone.
Right.
And you can see that when it comes away. Earlier in the videotape, Reggie showed us a point chisel, which is another way to remove humps and point marks. But Reggie prefers the technique he's showing you here. Reggie's just shown you how to fix point marks. And with that, we conclude this videotape about rock pitching. I'd like to thank you for being our instructor today, Reggie. It was great.
You're welcome.
The one thing Reggie and I want to stress is practice. Practice makes perfect. You need to practice the techniques you've seen in this videotape to acquire the skills to be successful in the art of rock pitching. This videotape is available only to members of MBNA because you are the members who support the organization. If you're watching this and you're not a member of the Monument Builders of North America, you can get information about the association's benefits and services by calling the toll-free number that's shown on the screen. Thank you for giving Monument Builders of North America the opportunity to serve you.